I was thinking, I really ought to change for the show. Well, it's 100 degrees in New York right now, and if you hear something whirring behind me, that would be my fan. And yeah, I thought to myself, no, I kind of publish real people. And this is me really lounging around the backyard working in a tank top, which, by the way, says love, 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 love. Isn't it cute? Speaking of cute, yes, we have a cutie with us today. I will call her cutie. I am so excited to have not one, but two pretty women on the stage. Oh God, if let's start. Yes. And definitely some Trini accents going to be coming out today because this is the rare occasion that I get to speak to someone that, well, I shouldn't say that because believe it or not, I do have some friends I see in the audience who have gotten so used to the way that I talk, they actually do in fact understand me. Even when I'm speaking fast and I am being looked at kind of like, please can you slow down? All right, so Lisa Feveck, formerly an engineer, I believe, decided she was going to become a registered dietitian. Now, if you ask me, that's quite a stretch. But tons of people change their careers, and you know what? I have to say, so did I. And really and truly, when you really step into what it is you want to do in your heart, everything just aligns. It's something that I have observed with friends who have stepped away and decided to start their own business as well. Um, Plenty arms today. I'm trying to put up the comments too, and oh, look at this. No, no, no. The sun did not get there. Nick happened to unfortunately burn herself with her curling iron. Yes, I did just say that on live. That wasn't very pleasant. So I would advise you don't allow that to happen to yourself. Pay attention. Um, all right, back to Lisa. So, hey, Roti, you're back there. Look who in the house. Noni, hello. All right. So Lisa is our go-to person when we talk menopause. Now, Lisa, thank God for this woman and her newsletters and her various posts because that's probably the only thing that reminds me um, that I'm getting older and I need to perhaps be a little more disciplined. Sometimes after 3 nights consecutively of eating dulce de leche Haagen-Dazs ice cream, I'm like, oh God, I have to go and look for one of Lisa posts because I'm like, this is not happening. It is such a wonderful thing to have somebody out there speaking about this topic that I want to say, you know, once upon a time, oh gosh, nobody but women spoke about this. But Lisa is certainly making it known across the board that men need to be a part of this conversation too. Because oftentimes men are the ones that are supporting female partners, and not even just husbands to wives or boyfriends to girlfriends, but fathers have teenage daughters too, and nieces and such like that. So, understanding from a young age what it is a female body goes through and then how it continues to proceed and then as you get older into life um how that changes because it does change. um the thing itself doesn't go away but it does change the way that you feel it and you deal with it and stuff like that. So I was really thrilled when Lisa agreed to write in um, a people first professional networking platform, an anthology turned trilogy. So Lisa, without a doubt, a person who came as professional and makes impact as a person that I think that we've all known and come to love outside of just her profession. So with that, I am going to bring Lisa up and let's get this party started.
Oh gosh, you have me
Hello.
laughing, real laughing backstage.
Listen, laughter is good for the soul. So they say. No, it is
Oh
good for
gosh,
the
it's
soul.
the only way I'm surviving these days. Okay, so I have to
Right.
laugh.
I was laughing when I decide I'm not getting changed for this show. And then I think to myself, I grumbling that it's so hot in New York. Lisa's back home. I know back
Sweating.
exactly. And back home, like, I was thinking to myself when I was preparing for the show, right? That, as children going to school back home, we didn't have no air conditioned classrooms,
Exactly. We barely had a fan.
right? If you even had.
Exactly.
Right, and the temperature there could easily be 90 Fahrenheit at times, right? And on
Yeah.
top of that, we certainly were not going to school in mini skirt and tank top and oh no,
No. Oh gosh.
we wore
We
school
had
uniforms.
uniforms with many layers.
Yes, especially they had to make it look all pretty with all the extra pleats and stuff. So there's that extra
Yes.
half a yard
Real
of skirt
clothes.
going on.
Real clothes. Yes.
Oh gosh. But that was what was crossing my mind. I was like, all right, Nicole, you really cannot complain. What is the temperature like now? So we in the dry season, right?
Yes. We're moving into the rainy season. I think they officially announced the rainy season.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still getting, listen, 1 minute is a storm, the next minute is bright, hot sun. The weather in Trinidad has menopause, and the sun looking real different. I don't know what's going on. I think it's climate change. I'm going to blame climate change because the sun is hotter now.
Yes.
So for us going through menopause and having hot flashes, it is fun times, right? Fun
God,
times.
Gil. I haven't been home for a couple of years, but I do remember, like I had said to you, I think a couple of times when I
Mm,
went back with my husband, come 12 o'clock, I inside the house in air condition, yes. I can't handle
yeah,
the heat
most of
out
us
here.
inside. Yeah,
Around noon, you're baking. I mean, it's so hot that you actually feel like you can't breathe,
yeah, yeah.
right? The heat is that bad. So when I think of myself here with a fan blowing on me, but at night I sweating, all my hair wet, I tangle up in the sheets. I
Yes.
have to go to the bathroom, I tripping because my foot tangle up in the sheets. I probably am in perimenopause stage, and those night sweats ain't no joke,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do when it's time for hot flashes? I'm going to be in real trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, so many people here telling you hello, girl.
Yes.
Plenty, plenty, plenty people.
Yes. Really a LinkedIn family, I must say that. Yeah.
Yeah, so don't know why Michelle comment was coming up before and now it's not coming up. But I just pop in the comments back up again so you can see
Mhm.
all the peeps that here. Yes, all
Yeah.
your peeps. All right, scrolling up, scrolling up, scroll. Listen, how they make so much comments already? The woman even start to read a chapter yet. That means that there's much anticipation. All
Yes.
right,
Much
well,
love, much love.
right. That being said, we done waste 10 precious minutes. I just kidding.
Oh boy. Well, you see, when we get together, we lyman, right? So we'll just sort of talk like normal.
Right, and that's the way it should be. I
Yes.
think every now and then people say, "Well, what are you going to do on your show? You read a chapter, and the rest of the time we talk."
Yeah.
It's called an organic conversation.
Yes, yes.
All right, then. Well, go ahead and share a bit about yourself, although I done said a lot, sorry. And then when you're ready, just let us know why it is you decided to write in the trilogy, what your experience was like a little bit, and then drink a gallon of water and start reading.
Yeah. Yes, well, the fan is blasting on me. Hopefully, you all are not getting the noise in the background because I have it on full blast. um, but yeah, so I'm a dietitian. I heard you talked about my engineering experience, and goes into a bit of why I changed in the story. But yeah, I'm fully committed and passionate about helping women go through the menopausal stages. That's what gets me up in the morning. But I could also say that I'm a international best-selling co-author because of you. You're the first person who asked me to be a part of a book, and the first time you asked, I said no, because honestly, I didn't think that I had a story that was good enough to share. I didn't think I could talk and say so many words about myself, honestly, to write a whole chapter. But then something happened, and I think people couldn't commit again. And you asked me again, and we had a conversation. And I talked to you about some of the fears I had. And what I remember is that you were talking to me about taking the opportunity. You know, it came back around so to say yes this time, but that the experience would be a very supportive one, and you weren't lying. You created Zoom rooms when every Saturday was a Zoom room where people could come and share their stories and get feedback. Then you had individual sessions with us, and then you read our stories and made corrections multiple times. You know, and that was the fears that I had, that it wouldn't be good enough, um, it wouldn't be interesting enough. But you brought out a side of me that I wished I had, didn't know I had, and you gave me that confidence to enter into two more anthologies. So I could say I'm a three-time international best-selling poet now because
And
of
that's
you,
what I talk about.
right? So yeah, I owe my writing journey to you. So thank you so much.
You don't owe anything to me. I could have said no the second time around. The point is, you didn't. And when it's right, it's right.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
and
The universe aligned.
I remember you specifically telling me, and it's funny because I have a author now in this next anthology I'm doing who he was concerned that his writing might be kind of dry
Yes,
because
yes.
he does like a periodical piece for I don't know can't even find the word, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like a
And he also
scientific
writes a
something.
certain genre of books,
Hmm.
right? And I remember you telling me, Nick, I don't know, like, what happens if it's too sterile? What happens if it's too much
Yeah,
professional
analytical. Yeah,
jargon and whatever? And when I opened up the story, I said, "What the hell is she talking about?" So, that being said, I think the audience can decide if Miss Lisa Feveck is a good writer. Let's I think she is, but don't listen to me. All right? Let's see what the audience thinks. Honey, whenever you're ready, start.
all right, so I'm going to be reading from my computer because one of the menopausal symptoms that I'm going through today is blurry eyes. So I need the writing really big, right? So I saw other authors reading from the book, but now I am going to be the front and read from my big computer screen. So, okay, so the title is More Than Just a LinkedIn Profile, How I Found My Voice and Purpose. I joined LinkedIn years ago while I was still working as an electrical engineer. At the time, it felt more like a task on my to-do list than an opportunity. Our bosses emphasized its importance for professionalism, so I created a profile, connected with a few former university classmates, and then forgot about it, literally. I even lost my password multiple times. LinkedIn was just another online space for finding a job, but it didn't seem necessary or meaningful. I never imagined that one day it would become such a significant part of my journey. Everything changed when I faced a crossroads in my life. After spending years in electrical engineering, two spinal surgeries left me at a standstill. I had to make a bold choice, one that was as daunting as it was exciting. Transitioning into a completely different career as a dietitian was a leap into the unknown. But as I started helping people in Trinidad and Tobago through nutrition and lifestyle changes, I felt a sense of fulfillment that engineering hadn't given me. Still, something lingered in the back of my mind, a quiet voice telling me that my work, though important, was incomplete. I longed to make a more impactful difference, but I wasn't sure where to begin. A turning point came when I worked with Coach Adam Lax. His guidance deepened my understanding of emotional intelligence, sparking my calling to advocate for women's health. I sought connections with professionals beyond the Trinidad and Tobago, eager to learn and share, but still didn't know how LinkedIn could work for me. For months, I did the stalker thing, silently watching others post and engage, not feeling brave enough to put myself out there. During this time, I was grappling with my own health challenges, symptoms that I later learned were linked to perimenopause. As I sought answers, I discovered a growing community of menopausal women with similar issues. Their symptoms were dismissed, their struggles overlooked. A sense of urgency grew within me. I wanted to create a space where these women could find support, a place where they felt seen, heard, and understood. So I started posting my own educational content about menopause to raise awareness on other social media platforms. I wanted to bring the conversation into the light, break the stigma, and help others understand the effects that menopause can have on a woman's life. Slowly but surely, I began to see a shift in how people engage with my content. My journey towards embracing this niche on LinkedIn was not without its challenges. At first, I questioned whether LinkedIn was the right place to talk about something as deeply personal and often stigmatized as menopause. Would the platform's professional audience even be receptive? Would they dismiss it as irrelevant or too taboo? Would they even listen to me, especially since I wasn't based in the US or the UK, where these discussions seemed more common? But the more I observed, the more I realized that the LinkedIn community was evolving. Professionals weren't just talking about business anymore, they were sharing personal stories. And slowly, I began to believe that maybe there was a space for mine too. As I started exploring the menopause space on LinkedIn, I noticed a growing number of coaches and experts sharing their knowledge and experiences. It was inspiring to see others taking on this important topic, but it also triggered a wave of imposter syndrome. I remember feeling like a small fish in a big pond, surrounded by highly respected professionals, worried that I wouldn't be heard or that my content would be overshadowed by more established experts in the field. Then I stumbled upon LinkedIn audio events and began attending these virtual gatherings. As I grew more comfortable connecting and sharing my thoughts, I met Enyo Sung, affectionately known as the godfather of LinkedIn audio. And he reached out to me and suggested I start a room of my own discussing topics related to menopause. I remember thinking, me host a LinkedIn audio event on menopause. It seemed so out of place. After all, LinkedIn was for business connections, for corporate discussions, not menopause. However, something inside me clicked and I decided to give it a try. My personal experiences and perspectives combined with my professional background were actually valuable assets. Taking a leap of faith, I shared my knowledge, hoping my authenticity and passion would resonate with others. Now, almost a year later, I have hosted successful LinkedIn audio rooms every other Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. It has become a safe and welcoming space where both men and women openly discuss the challenges of midlife and menopause. Seeing the engagement, support, and understanding in these sessions has been nothing short of incredible. It was in these moments I discovered my true calling. Finding my voice on LinkedIn has been a deeply transformative process. It took stepping into roles I had never imagined for myself: educator, advocate, and ally. Using this platform, I share content about the often overlooked struggles of menopause and midlife. We talk about everything from understanding symptoms to navigating the workplace and family challenges, even to intimacy issues. The responses I received, comments from women who felt seen and supported for the first time in years, and from men wanting to better understand their partners and workplaces, filled me with a sense of purpose I hadn't expected. Each post, each conversation was another step in building not only a community, but also a mission I was passionate about. Beyond my individual efforts, I actively sought to collaborate with my other professionals on LinkedIn. Through these initiatives, I not only enhanced my own expertise, but I've also earned titles like Top Food Science Voice, Top Healthcare Voice, and Top Culinary Education Voice on the platform. By sharing my perspectives, my personal evolution has become a broader purpose to be an advocate for women's health issues. Through my newsletters, events, and interactions, I strive to convey messages of understanding, compassion, and empowerment. I want women to know they are not alone, that their experiences are valid, and that they deserve to be heard and supported. But it's not just about what I can give, it's a mutual exchange. The relationships I've built on LinkedIn have been true partnerships, where I learn just as much from my colleagues as they do from me. Supporting one another isn't a one sided effort. We uplift each other through shared knowledge, experiences, and insights. When we offer guidance and encouragement and open ourselves up to perspectives that challenge our own thinking, it helps us grow in unexpected ways. Together, we've created a network that thrives on collaboration, where the success of one person inspires the growth of many. As I continue to share and engage, I started forming connections that have turned into friendships, which have profoundly impacted me. I could easily list at least 100 people who have helped me grow, both personally and professionally. People who have been there to celebrate my wins, provide wisdom, and offer support, often surpassing what I might have expected from those closest to me. And so, to those connections, my extended family, I say thank you. LinkedIn has become much more than a platform for professional networking. It's a space where real human connections flourish. My hope for you as you have read this chapter is that you feel inspired to do the same. Take that first step, whether it's sharing a personal story, connecting to someone new, or simply showing up for others. The most profound influence you make occurs when you lead with love and compassion. You won't but just be building a career, you'll be creating a legacy. Reflecting on this past year on LinkedIn, I appreciate just how life changing this experience has been for me. What began as a hesitant step into the online world has evolved into something bigger. So, my advice is to share your story, be vulnerable, and open yourself up to possibilities. We can show up as more than just professionals. We get to bring our full, authentic selves into everything we do. The magic happens when we move beyond the roles and titles we wear and we influence each other as people first with our experiences, passions, and purpose.
We influence each other as people first.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
you're right. Take that step, but don't do the stalker thing. I bust out laughing when I read that part in your chapter. I was like, yep, sound like a real Trini, a stalker thing. You know,
Yeah.
I am going to ask people to put in the comments what they thought of your chapter.
Okay. No pressure.
No, no pressure, no pressure. But the reason I am going to say that is because people are already singing the praises of the person that you are. They have come to know and love you, and for what you do for men and women, right?
Yeah.
So I want to hear from these people. What did you think about Lisa's chapter and her writing? Because I am glad she had a good experience and went on to write again.
Mhm.
But I think it is important for people who are starting out, and this is
Yeah.
a first chapter right for you, right?
Yeah.
So I want to
Yeah.
know what
Very
people
first.
thought. Yes, because now you would have written, and certainly, your writing would have changed. Because with
Mm.
time and experience, your writing changes,
Yeah.
right? So I hope you're looking at the comments.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, I am trying to put up the comments to let you see what it is people are saying. Right? Aaron, you are too funny. Every time you can find a palm tree.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
All right.
That
You know
is so
what?
random.
We're gonna have to find a way to send her on a plastic pouch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Noni, you do need to go and visit Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what it is you're waiting on.
We don't worry, we have plans. We have plans.
But hey, I not included.
Of course you are, of
Now
course.
that
You, Jackie, and Noni, you all have to come.
so I have the perfect question for you that I wrote down here now on that. I have to put you on the spot.
Oh gosh.
If you could meet, and I guess you can't really say Noni because that already set up. If you could meet
Okay.
one LinkedIn connection in real life, who would that be? And you can think about it. And I will not be offended if you don't say me. So don't worry about that.
No, well, we already have plans to meet at some point, you, Jackie, and Noni, right? So I'm banking on that. But
Yes, we have to go back home.
yeah, yeah. The first person that came to mind was Annie. If it wasn't for him pushing me, I probably wouldn't have achieved and connected with so many people. He was the one that really pushed me and convinced me to do an audio event
Hmm.
and has been supporting me ever since. So both Annie and Paulette are my co-hosts, Paulette Hallam.
Yes, yes.
So if I could meet both of them at the same time, go to England and give both of them a hug, it'll be great because they have been with me from day one, supporting me, giving me advice, being my sort of sounding board and strength when I needed it. So yeah, without a doubt, it'll be the two of them because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have written a chapter. I wouldn't be talking so much about menopause. I wouldn't have this confidence if it wasn't for them.
Make sure you bring them a roti. Yeah?
Oh gosh, yes, of course. I wrote in a red solo.
I mean, and that's like what you're saying right now really just speaks to the power of this platform
Yeah.
and why it is I wanted to write a LinkedIn Love Affair, which didn't happen. But
Mm,
a people first professional networking platform is still LinkedIn we're talking about.
yes.
Um, but I passed through those phases too of I came and I was like, I don't know if I belong here. I don't know about these
Yeah.
people. They're very professional looking. Oh God, some of them looking kind of snobby. I don't know about that. And
Yeah.
then,
Real stush, real stush.
right? So, and then I just started to open up about myself. And then
Mm,
next thing you know, people wanted to know more about my story.
yeah.
And as that went along and support grew and a community grew, it led to starting this business guiding brilliant writers.
Yeah.
So it is such a powerful platform, but people don't realize that the platform provides the sandbox. It's up
Yeah.
to us how we choose to play in the sandbox.
Yeah.
And you said something very beautiful at the end, right? We influence each other as people first.
Hmm.
I said it before and I will say it again because that is how we influence each other.
Yeah.
No matter how many accreditations you have behind your name, if you cannot have a one on one conversation with somebody and they see you as a human being,
Yeah.
they're not going to bother to even understand what your credentials are. I am
Yeah.
just saying. Oh, goodness. So
Yeah.
I asked people to please tell Lisa what you thought about her chapter. All
Oh, I
right.
love it.
Hi,
Yeah.
Joni. I see you. And Sean Michael, thank
Hi.
you so much for joining us.
Oh, Shauna's here. Yeah.
You hear what Jackie's saying? She loved listening to you read, which I think is very funny because now she throws up here. And yes, you are right. My accent does come out more when I speak to Lisa.
But we don't hear an accent. This is just how we talk.
Yeah, and it's funny because I I feel I have an accent to begin with, but it is stronger when I speak to somebody who's Trinidadian or from the Caribbean,
Hmm.
right? But I think, like I said, you know why and why most people do because you're very misunderstood sometimes depending on where it is you live.
Yeah. We need like closed captions at the bottom running when we speak.
So listen, I was thinking to myself, again, just having you on the show had me thinking so much stuff. I was like, I think I need to do a book. Maybe I need to co-author a book with Lisa, and it has to be something about like growing up in Trinidad and the slangs on them. Growing up in Trinidad and slangs on them, so then this way we could start to share with people, some of the Trinidadian slangs and what they mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this way, when we start talking, they would be like, "Oh wait, let me open back up.
Yeah, let's check the book.
Let me open back up that book." All right, guys. I am going to ask my brother Aaron or out there to please drop the link for the backstage link. Wait, I can't tell you to drop the backstage link. I have the backstage link. Wait,
Oh,
let me do that. Give me 1 second. And this way, if anybody wants to come up on stage and have a Trini conversation with us with a Trini
yes.
accent, by all means, please come up. We will judge and see who has the best Trini accent. Let's just do that now. So, what going on for you else right now? Because I saw that you were featured recently in a very prominent magazine. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, the Female Entrepreneurs magazine, they come out every month and they celebrate the work of women.
Mhm.
So it was just, I know it's cliche to say it's an honor to be in the magazine, but it really was to be among women who are touching the lives of different people in different ways. But we all have a similar foundation. We want to do good for others. We want to celebrate others. We want to empower others, but we're doing it in our own way. I just thought it was beautiful. And I really celebrate, and I forgot her name, Angelique, um, for just, and it's free. I didn't pay anything, but she just wants to celebrate women. And it's a really professionally done magazine. She did a podcast with us, So if you're not connected to her, you can go on my page and find it and connect with her. She is really a special person to do all of this for no cost. I think it was just wonderful. I don't remember paying at least yet.
Wow, no, you're right. People that pour in energy to doing things like this,
Yeah.
to help showcase the great work that other people are doing, and without charge, needless to say. I mean, that's beautiful.
And to do it every month and to have at least 10 women in each magazine. That's a lot of work, but it's
Yeah,
a passion. So yeah.
yeah, that is definitely a lot of work. So I dropped the backstage link, guys and gals, in the LinkedIn DM chat for our trilogy. So if you were in the trilogy, you will see the link in there, and by all means, come up and talk to your co-author. Aaron, maybe you could grab it out of there and drop it for me in the post comments if anybody wants to come up and ask Lisa any questions. So I had a question for you, and I had to write it down. Okay. Will you write again, even though I know now you have co-authored like a few times, but I believe you have your own book out.
I
Did you?
know. So I'm working on that. I
Okay.
did I quoted one about menopause. That was the last one I did. But yeah, I'm gonna say yes to the opportunities without even thinking now because I know the experience is great. And like again, it sounds cliche, but again, if you could touch one person's lives and make them better or have another thought, I I always celebrate that. And reading the stories in this trilogy. First of all, doing a trilogy, usually a trilogy is one book at a time, Nick. One at a time, not three all at once, okay? But if you know Nick is like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That is so Nick, right?
Well, it wasn't a three-part book technically. Well, yes. Well, whatever.
Well, yeah. But just reading people's stories, a lot of them I couldn't read in public because I would start crying. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like Jackie's story. Oh my God. I was like, okay, I was reading this in the car and I was like, God, people would think I'm such a weirdo. Why is a girl crying in the car reading a book? I had to read a lot of them at home because it was just so moving. But you
Yes.
understand why they do what they do, why they come on this platform and why they do this work. Is just, it was great to understand their background, and it just made me appreciate them more.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this really feels like a family.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's more supportive than my own family, you know. So
Absolutely.
it's something that I don't take it for granted.
Well, Damien is to Jackie what Annie is to you.
Yes,
That
yes, I
Aaron is
realize
to me.
that. Yes,
I could probably keep going. And then
yeah,
that right there is why, we stay and we keep doing what we
yeah.
do, even though LinkedIn is being all,
Menopausal, right? It's like
yes,
I
right?
think I need to have a session with LinkedIn.
I think
Yeah,
so
so they
too.
wouldn't cut our shows and yeah,
And I
I
think
know.
while at it, I need to stick every single coach that I know on LinkedIn too, because they need a whole
Yeah,
mindset readjustment.
yes, for real. But I live on LinkedIn, more or less, right? For all the issues they have, I basically live on LinkedIn because I'm always reading somebody's newsletter, somebody's post that's just so interesting and informative. I've done many courses and master classes through LinkedIn connections as well. So
Mhm.
it's it's really a place. It's evolved, but into something good.
And even then, with all the technical glitches and stuff that I have in, it is still by far to me the cleanest platform. Meaning,
Yes.
you know, do I occasionally get pitch slapped? Yes. Do I occasionally get an inappropriate DM? Yes.
Yeah, that
But
is
you go
life.
on Facebook and that's a norm.
Yes, exactly.
And if you're on Instagram, and I'm guilty of it too, you drop a heart or two-word comment, you're really not digging in because
Yeah, you're not invested.
LinkedIn people really go deep,
Yeah,
right? And they're not afraid to say, oh gosh, well, I can't post more than three sentences because people gonna get fed up. No, if people really want to read it, they will read it.
yeah.
And if it resonates, they will leave you a comment that's more than two words.
Hmm.
And I think that's why, for me, I spend most of my time on LinkedIn as well. So
Yeah.
the QR code is behind me. So
Hmm.
you can pick up your copy um, of the trilogy. Well, it's three of them, so you're gonna have to pick up all three copies. And yes, I am telling you to please pick up all three copies because you would be
It's worth it. It's
surprised
worth it. Yeah.
how many people in these books that you know or know somebody that knows. And if you
Hmm.
think all the journeys are similar, they're not.
Yes.
Absolutely not. Some people have had
Yeah.
some crazy stories.
Yeah. Yeah. But it makes me appreciate the people more. But
Yeah.
yeah, crazy stories is right. It was really interesting read.
So Sharon joined us backstage, and I'm going to bring her up in 1 second. But Leslie had asked us to share
Hmm.
some recipes, and I
Okay.
don't mind sharing
Rest,
some recipes
recipes for.
for Chinese food. No, oh gosh,
Oh,
sorry, I'm
okay.
blocking us
Because
out for the comment. Sorry, sorry,
oh
sorry.
wow. Thanks, Sandra.
But Sandra is saying too that Annie was also her accountability partner. And you see, this is the kind of support that you can
Yeah.
find on this platform
Yes.
when you connect with the right people,
Yes.
right? So um, let's give Leslie a recipe or two before we bring Sharon up. So you could give us a recipe for
Oh, what way?
uh, a Trinidadian dish that's flavorful but healthy.
Hmm. We use so many spices that will take the whole show. But what I could do is put it in. I could do some posts on it.
Very
I
good.
could work with Noni to do some posts on some foods. One
That
of her
sounds good.
podcasts actually we talked about Trinidadian foods and described some of them. So yeah, we leave some links and put some. Yeah, the amount of spices we add, it's definitely more than salt and pepper, right?
Yes, I know, definitely. And like for me here in the States, cilantro is very popular. Now, I don't remember a lot of cilantro in Trinidad growing up,
No, no,
but
we
in
now
Trinidad,
have
we use something
those,
called shadow benny. But
which
up
is
here,
culantro.
when I
So we
saw
use
it in the
culan.
store, it was called culantro.
Yes,
So
yes.
I was like, wait a minute. And so a lot of the names of vegetables and fruits, we have a different name for them,
Yeah.
right? But they are there out there in the market. So when you go and you buy a yucca, next time you go and buy a yucca, just remember Nicole and Lisa said that's not a yucca, that's a cassava. All
Yes.
right, a cassava, not a yucca.
But people can also use like Google Maps and search for Trinidadian restaurants near them or Trinidadian supermarkets or grocery near them. Because Trinis, we all over the place and all of us have a restaurant somewhere. So you get good restaurants with our local foods, especially in places like New York and California has some, Miami has some. Even strange places like Philadelphia has a few, and Seattle, just do a Google search. You'll
And
find
don't
it.
do like Nick if you decide to move to Long Island. Do not move to the east end of Long Island. Because I have to drive an hour and a half to get to Queens or Brooklyn so
Oh
I can
my
get roti.
gosh. Yeah,
I'm
if you're
just
moving to
saying.
the States, look for places close to Trinidadian foods, okay? You will not be disappointed.
I should open up a roti shop here in Miller, please.
Hey,
Why
everybody doing
not?
it.
It might be the
Why not?
quickest thing ever.
Exactly.
Well, let me bring Sharon up to the
Mhm.
stage. Hello, Sharon. How are you?
Hi, Sharon.
Hello, I am good. Hello, Nick. Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, we're
I
good. We're good.
I wanted to come up because I wanted to say that first, Lisa, in reference to your chapter, every time I read it or hear it, and I've read it multiple times, um, it just moves me. It just it I resonate with all most of the chapters, if not all the chapters, for their own message
Yeah.
from the trilogy and from other projects that I've done with Nick subsequently. And it just I resonate with a lot of what you said because your journey on LinkedIn, although very different than mine, was also very similar in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Like,
Yeah.
I when I first joined LinkedIn way back when, it was because my boss made me have a professional profile. And then when I had my own business, I left LinkedIn alone for a while. And then a coach encouraged me to come back to LinkedIn. And
Mhm.
it was very different than, what I had, my experience of it being just a professional job search, you
Yeah.
know, platform. So I just wanted to say that I loved your writing then as a first time author, and I love subsequent writings that you do now. And I'm glad to hear that you're on this writing journey. And I wanted you to know, I put it in the comments, but I wanted you to know that it was an honor to be part of the trilogy with you and to hear your story. And also in terms of menopause, thank you, thank you, thank you, because it is a misunderstood phenomenon that we women experience, and we don't have a choice. We're not given a choice. Um,
No,
because if
unfortunately.
we were, we would just put a switch in us and just be done, like a light switch. But
Yeah.
you know, I I don't mind being very transparent here. I From the moment I started my cycle, experienced premenstrual dysphoria disorder before it was even a thing like known
Hmm.
as that. And
Yes.
for years I was misunderstood and just, very emotional stuff. So he knowing what I've gone through and knowing that I went through it alone and very misunderstood, um,
Hmm.
and to now have you being so open on a platform and a stage so vast like this, it warms my heart because as I'm nearing menopause and I'm experiencing all the things that I'm experiencing, just to hear somebody else validate what I've been saying for years, validating
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
watched my mother go through for years, because my poor mother was so misunderstood by my father, and
Oh gosh.
you
Yeah.
know, she was misunderstood by us because we were young. And
Hmm.
what did we know? But I just
Yeah.
wanted to come up here and sing your praises for having the courage, I guess, to talk about what we've all been kind of socialized to feel is like a taboo,
Yeah.
one of the taboo topics. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm a firm believer that menopause affects men too. And I don't just mean the woman going through menopause that affect their partners or their their family, they have their own version. So I applaud
Yeah,
you.
they do. They do.
I know.
I
Yeah.
think
So
that word validate is the perfect word to use
Yeah.
in this situation, because it's like Lisa said, she realized when she started doing what she was doing, women finally started to feel heard, after not being heard for years.
Yeah.
Because, if you only know X amount of women in your life who are in that stage, right? So you don't hear a ton of it. You okay? So you don't hear a ton of it, right? You hear snippet here, snippet there, and you're like, "What's wrong with her? What's wrong with her?" But
Yeah.
when you hear all the symptoms together in one place, then you're like, "Holy crap!" And there are so very many, and like things that I didn't even consider
Yeah.
being one. So Joni wrote one question. Joni, what's the question? If you want to put the question up. Um, and Daniel is sharing it. Opens your eyes as a husband as you try and help your wife with the symptoms.
Yeah. Good.
It certainly
Yeah.
does, because my husband knows if he sees me like ratchety, that word ratchety,
Yeah. Yeah.
boxy, when you see me like, over there in a corner by myself, and it just kind of like, you know, oh, you all right? You got your period? Say, oh, shucks. It's that obvious, huh? But
Yeah.
even us learning how to cope and manage our symptoms without internalizing it, even if the
Mhm.
people around us are aware, because they could see the changes in our mood and our emotion, even in
Yeah.
our lower activity, then they have something to tie it with, right? And
Mhm.
even just knowing that sometimes is enough. Not that they
Yeah.
have to do anything for you, because you don't really need them to do anything for you, but just that
Yeah.
they
And that is
know.
what I have to get men to understand. We don't need you to do anything. You can ask us what we need, but don't do anything.
Sometimes you just need you to
step
step
out of the
back and
way.
give
Just
us
be
a
there. Yeah.
space.
Or leave us
Maybe
alone sometimes, you
you
know?
see us there, turn on the fan. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Can I add something to what you said, Nick? Because it was so powerful. I don't even know if you realized that you said it. But the other thing that, Lisa, that you've been doing for me and that I've done for myself through research before I had met you is it gave me an understanding of myself. So I was able to be like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like really short fused, or I'm really, really, really emotional at the drop of
Mhm.
a hat. And I was able to say, okay, this is because of my hormones.
Yeah.
And I was able to give myself, even if other people around me couldn't give me that grace, I was able to give it to myself. And that was a game changer for me because
Yeah.
I couldn't do much about the feelings that or the the fluctuations in my hormones and what was happening to me because of that. But I could give myself the grace to say, I can't control this. And they might want to think that I can, but I can't. So I'm just going to go
Yeah.
into my cave and understand what's going on, and I'll come out of my cave when I can have better control.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a game changer.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
And
Sharon. Thank you for coming
thank
up
you.
and sharing with us, and basically verbalizing here on stage what we're seeing out there in the comments, right? And this
Yes.
is
Thank
the
you.
proof in the pudding. So Sharon, I'm going to bring you back down. Thank you so much. And I want to bring up some of these comments from the guys,
Yes.
right? Because I don't try to help, but do support in any way I can. My wife is pre-menopause, but still having some of the early effects. Um, and then he says, just stay out of the way, guys. You see, he gets it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and Daniel is also sharing, and I think this is so funny. I was the number one gopher in finding the hand fan.
Oh, that is sweet. Yeah.
Listen, pick up the closest stick here and just be like, breathe, breathe. I like this. Grace and space. That's the ticket.
Yes, yes.
No, I completely agree.
Hmm.
So, Lisa, what we have coming up for Lisa?
Um, I'm just continuing my work. Finishing up a group program that I'm doing with some ladies. So the next one will start soon. Um, but I'm just continuing the work.
Your
That's
audio room, and that's on
yeah.
Tuesdays at 5,
Every other Tuesday at 5 p.m. is a LinkedIn Live,
every other
keeping up
Tuesday.
with
Okay.
the newsletters, trying to spread the word on other social media platforms. And not just for, I know I talk to every woman, and the information is certainly valuable for everyone, but I really try to tap in also to the Caribbean woman because our experience being mixed race is another kettle of fish and, another layer on top of everything else.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And just to validate the feelings and know that you're not, again, not crazy, it's not all in your head. Counseling not just the woman, but the family as well. So it's everybody that gets counseling, whether it's talking to women in the workplace, wherever the conversation needs to be had. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing now, just to bring that awareness. Because as Sharon was saying, just putting a name to it and knowing it's not just you, it's something happening that you can't control. Just that awareness brings so much peace to women. So
Yes, I'm
that's what
sure it
I'm
does.
doing here.
Well, it has for me. So, if you are not following Lisa,
Mhm.
please scan the
Oh,
QR code and make sure that you are
oh,
following
then the
her,
thing will be so big.
right? I shall run that again just to irritate Lisa. Let's do this again.
Oh, wow.
Please scan the QR code and follow Lisa. For women, you need to follow her for your peace of mind. And men,
Mm.
you need to follow her for your wife, your
And
woman
for
in
your
your
peace of
life,
mind as well.
and your peace of mind.
Yes.
All right, so I'm so glad to hear that. And what can we here at Guiding Brilliant Writers do to further support you?
Just keep doing the work that you're doing, Nick. Celebrating the writers. I'm enjoying these sessions, getting to know the people behind the story a little bit more. Um, and just you leaving your 9 to 5 and doing this full time means that you're committed to us. And
Yeah,
I thought that that alone just gave me comfort that the next time I want to do an anthology, I know who to turn to.
thank you so much.
Mm.
I am. I'm committed to you all, but I'm committed to myself too. And that's the
Yes.
thing, even with Lisa, right? So you're committed to those that you're helping, but it's your love for what you do. So, it's
Mhm.
a meeting of minds. I say
Yeah.
meeting of minds because, I started our Bipolar Brilliance, which is another page.
Yeah.
But, this one is somewhat of a support group. But I like to refer to it as a meeting of minds. And when I
Hmm.
think about it, as people with diagnoses, different diagnoses, that have,
Yeah.
support partners. And I would like for both to come, right?
Hmm.
Because it doesn't matter what diagnosis you have, your mental health is involved. And a mental health and mental
Yeah.
illness is not the same thing,
Yeah.
right? So even when you stop to think about going through menopause, even if you do understand the way your body functions, the type of exercise, the environments you're in, the type of foods you're eating,
Hmm.
you still need mental health support,
Yeah.
right? And being in a group of other women who are also experiencing the same, as always, tends to help you feel not alone. Me, I lucky. I,
Yeah.
I could just bother Lisa anytime.
That's true. Very true. Yeah, but you're so right. Just having a community of women going through the same thing as you, and you could say 2 words and they understand,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
they know exactly what to tell you. That has been the saving grace sometimes for many of my clients. So yeah.
Yes, like you say, sometimes it's just 2 words, and for somebody to be able to get you in two
Yeah.
words
Yeah. You
speaks
just get it.
volumes. So, all right, well, we're 5 to the hour, and I want to thank you so much for coming. A very highly anticipated episode. So many people in the audience just want to say hello and thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thank you for supporting Lisa and
Yeah.
reminding
I
her that
appreciate
she
it. Yeah.
is an incredible writer and her stories need to be told And the thing about it is, no matter how many times we speak about what we do professionally and personally, within every facet of this journey of our lives, okay,
Yeah.
it always takes on a different look. So even
So
if
true.
somebody has written in 3 anthologies, 4 anthologies, and they go, well, I don't want to hear that story again. Well, Lisa's story right now is about LinkedIn and her
Hmm.
experience here on this platform. Next time around, who knows? It
Yeah.
might be a Trinidad recipe book with me that Leslie mentioned. Okay,
Yes.
we will do the eat all the healthy stuff from Lisa and eat all the bad stuff from Nick, but we will give you 2 sets of recipes.
Hey, no food is bad. No food is bad. Okay, we can eat and enjoy everything. All right,
That's true.
never
In
forget that.
moderation.
Yes.
That's a word I don't know nothing about. But anyway, that's another discussion.
Yeah, we could talk about that after.
Right. So with that, thanks so much. I'm gonna bring you backstage if you want to hang out. I'll be there in just a few
Yes.
minutes.
Okay,
All
great.
right, great.
Take care, everybody.
Oh gosh, another fun episode. I am just really enjoying this, the person behind the pen. I have to tell you, it's not just about reading the chapters that they published with me, but you really get an opportunity to know the person and understand perhaps what their backstories are, what brought them to the point of them doing what they do, and why it is they're so passionate about it, right? And I think what it does as well is it humanizes the authors in the eyes of the reader. So, yes, you may see their picture at the back of the book, right? And you see their name. But sometimes you read a little part of their story and you wish you could have dug a little bit deeper. You wanted to know a little bit more. And that is what this show is all about. It's not about the publishing part. You know, the writing can be learned. The guiding brilliant writers, it's not that I am guiding writers who are only brilliant writers. Who the hell is only brilliant writers? Anyway, the brilliance is the stories and the people behind them. So I can't be in business if people don't believe in the brilliance of their stories and they don't believe in their ability to write for the first time and continue to grow through that writing. And that is what Guiding Brilliant Writers is all about. We want to build an experience for you. We want you to go on the rest of your journey. And should you ever feel like writing, know that it is about your story first. Everything else can be taught, fall into place, bought. So, with that, I want to thank everyone who came. Meryl, hello. It is so nice to see you. And oh, Kenny, thank you so much for inviting Meryl. Really, really appreciate it. And so we have been doing the person behind the pen every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. However, for the month of June, starting next week, we will only be doing it on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We will resume Tuesdays and Thursdays in July. If you didn't know, the next anthology being released by Guiding Brilliant Writers is We Choose to Be More Than Our Diagnoses. And every Saturday night through the month of June, Nick, Never in Control, will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern. This Saturday, we have three of the co authors: Crystal Chilcott, who is diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She is an international figure skater as well as a pageant competitor, Miss and Mrs. Colorado. We also have Jeff Van Dyke. Jeff Van Dyke was born with cerebral palsy. He is a very close friend of mine, and he just completed the 2025 Michigan Victory Games. And his team came in first and second in many of the competitions. And lastly, and certainly not least, we have Sharon Byrne. Sharon is a certified fitness instructor. Sharon was also born with cerebral palsy and as a result have faced many other diagnoses that came along as time went by. But she did not give up, and she decided even more than that, that she was going to get her certifications in fitness. So if you stop to think for a moment, what limitations a person with a diagnosis has? Well, I'll tell you right now. These are athletes and these are people that are well into fitness. I'm sure a lot more than I am, that's for sure. So thank you so much for joining us. We will see you this Thursday again at 6 p.m. Eastern for the person behind the pen. We will have Dr. Tanya Farhan. She didn't publish with me, but once a month, an author gets to come on and read an excerpt from their book. Why? Because if you love publishing people's stories, it's not about the publishing, it's about the stories. And everybody's story matters. And I want to be able to introduce other authors outside of the umbrella of guiding brilliant writers to you. So, with that, oh, I'm just a minute over. Oh, shoot, two now. Okay, have a great night. Bye.